वायुमग्निं सलिलं महिं च ज्योतिंषि सत्त्वानि दिशो द्रुमादि सरे समुद्रांश हरे शरीरं यत्किं च भूतं मेदनन्या खं वायुमग्निं सलिलं महिं च ज्योतिंषि सत्त्वानि दिशो द्रुमादीन् सरे समुद्रं च हरे शरीरं किं च भूतं प्रणमेदनन्या. Mataji's. Jyotish sattvaनि kham vaयुमग्निं सलिलं महिं च ज्योतिंषि सत्त्वानि दिशो द्रुमादीन् सरे समुद्रं शरीरं यत्किं च भूतं प्रणमेदनन्या. Word to word meaning, translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki, the disciples ki, Kham, ether, Vayum, air, Agnim, fire, Shalilam, water, Mahim, earth, Cha, and Jyotimshi, the sun, moon and other celestial luminaries, Sattvani, all living beings, Disha, Mudran and oceans, Cha also, Hare of the Supreme Lord Hari, Shariram, the body, Yat Kimcha, whatever, Bhutam, in created existence, Pranamet, one should bow to, Ananya, thinking nothing to be separate from the Lord. A devotee should not see anything as being separate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, ether, fire, air, water, earth, the sun, and other luminaries, all living beings, the directions, trees, and other plants, the rivers and oceans. Whatever a devotee experiences, he should consider to be an expansion of Krishna, thus seeing everything that exists within creation as the body of the Supreme Lord Hari. The devotee should offer his sincere respects to the entire expansion of the Lord's body. Hare Krishna. So this is a purport for almost 4.5 pages. So we will have prayers and then we will read a part of the purport and then discuss. Because there is so much of philosophy. I think because all the devotees from Kharagpur are coming. So Nithai Gauranga wanted to give an intellectual treat. A devotional and intellectual treat to the devotees from Indian Institute of Technology. So you'll have to be attentive, otherwise, obviously if the intellect plays, then you won't fall asleep. So we'll try to discuss as we read through. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Nadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pusharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauravishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate kiram Yathripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Hare Krishna. So, first of all, I would like to seek blessings from all the Vaishnavas, all the Vaishnavis, so that we can speak from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Particularly, this is a section of Lord Krishna speaking to Uddhav. That's the section which will come by. So this is a very philosophical section, and this is Maharaj Nimi meeting the Navayogendras and Kavi speaking to Maharaj Nimi, right? So I seek blessings of everyone, Hare Krishna, and we welcome all the devotees also. The IIT KJP alumni meeting of His Grace Mukunda Leela Prabhu, His Grace Nimai Ananda Prabhu, His Grace Balaram Govinda Prabhu, His Grace Achyut Nimai Prabhu. Who else? Emona Durmati Samsare Bhitare Podiya Achinu Ami. Then Tava Nija Jana Kono Mahajane Pathaya Delatu. Rupa Goswami is speaking to Sri Chaitanya, is speaking to Rupa Goswami and saying that Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagavana Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai. And before that he actually qualifies who is a Krishna Bhakta and a Guru. Koti Jnani Madhye Ek Mukta, and Koti Mukta Madhye Ek Krishna Bhakta. So to meet a Krishna Bhakta, Srila Prabhupada, or the great then we are most fortunate. And we have got connected to Srila Prabhupada through the representatives of devotees who are connected to Srila Prabhupada. And that good fortune has opened for each and every one of us who is sitting in this assembly of Vaishnavas, right? We all can be very happy and proud that by the association of Prabhupada, we all have become very, very blessed, very fortunate. If there's any feeling of being not so fortunate, we should understand Tavad Vidyad Atmano Maya. It's only Maya who makes us feel you're not fortunate, right? But actually we are very, very, very fortunate. So we'll read the purport. Everyone can also read along, read it, see it. Srila Jiva Goswami has given this example from the Puranas. Yat pashyati tattva anuraga tishayena jagat dhanamayam lubdha kamuka kaminimayam itivat hare shariram. Because of a greedy person's obsession with money, wherever he goes, he sees an opportunity for acquiring wealth. Similarly, a very lusty for a practical experience that a greedy man will see money everywhere. If he goes to the forest, he will immediately consider whether it would be profitable to purchase the forest and sell the trees to a paper mill. Similarly, if a lusty man goes to the same forest, he will look everywhere for beautiful women tourists who might happen to be there. And if a devotee goes to the same forest, he will see Krishna there, knowing correctly that the entire forest as well as the sky canopy above is the inferior energy of the Lord. Krishna is supremely sacred, being the supreme person. And seen through the eyes of a self-realized person, therefore as stated in this verse, Pranamet, one should offer one's sincere respects to everything. Srila Jiva Goswami has mentioned that we should see the personal form of Krishna everywhere. This verse does not approve of the impersonal atheistic philosophy that everything is God. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya has quoted from the Harivamsha this verse, because everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord Hari. Everything is considered to be His body. He is the original source and master of everything, and therefore nothing should be seen as different from Him. Nonetheless, one should not foolishly conclude that there is absolutely no difference between the material universe and Lord Vishnu, who is full of His own unique spiritual qualities. The example is often given of the sun and the sun's rays. The sunshine is nothing but an expansion of the sun globe, and therefore there is no qualitative difference between the sun and its rays. But although the sunshine is situated everywhere, and although everything is a transformation of the sun's energy, the sun globe itself, the source of the sunshine, is not everywhere, but is situated in a particular place in the vast sky and has its own specific form. If we penetrate further into the sun globe, we shall find the sun god Vivaswan. All those pseudo-intellectuals of the modern age who are incapable of even counting the hairs on their own heads will consider the sun god a mythological figure. It is actually the foolish mythology of modern men to think that such a sophisticated apparatus as the sun, which provides heat and light for the entire universe, can function without intelligent administration. Transformations of solar energy make life possible on earth, and thus the earth can be understood to be consist of an endless variety of secondary manifestations of all-pervading solar energy. So within the sun planet is the personality Vivaswan, the chief administrator of the solar functions. The sun globe itself is localized and the sun's rays expand everywhere. Similarly, Sri Krishna Shama Sundar, it is the original personality of God. Bodily glow, the all-pervading spiritual effulgence called the Brahmajyoti. The entire material manifestation floats within the rays of the Brahmajyoti, just as life, all life on earth is a transformation of the all-pervading rays of the sun. The entire cosmic manifestation is a transformation of the spiritual rays of the Brahmajyoti, as stated in the Brahma Samhita. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti kotishvashesha vasudadi vibhuti bhinnam tad brahma. Primeval Lord who is endowed with great power. The glowing effulgence of his transcendental form is the impersonal Brahman, which is absolute, complete, and unlimited, and which displays the varieties of countless planets with the different opulences in millions and millions of universes. Therefore, the Brahma Jyoti is the spiritual light that emanates directly from the body of the Lord. This universe is the transformation of that spiritual energy, and therefore that everything that exists is in one sense connected directly with the personal body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. About how everything is actually directly or indirectly coming from Krishna. So it's a part of Krishna. Right? This is the first aspect. And the second part of the purport is quite strong, where Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada says, if we do not do the first part, that is to see everything as part of Krishna directly or indirectly, then actually we run into a risk of becoming a Mayavadi. Would become a Mayavadi, an impersonalist. And after becoming an impersonalist, either because it is so illusory, we won't be able to hold on to the truth, so then we will fall to become philanthropic or sincere sense gratifiers. Right? So this understanding is very wonderful. Like, we need to see everything as a part of Krishna. And if we don't see, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada says, we have a risk of becoming a Mayavadi. That means we have no option but to see everything in connection to Krishna, in one sense. So Prabhupada is saying here, Prabhupada, Acharyas are being quoted, it seems that just like a greedy person, wherever he goes, he finds, how can I make money? Any businessman or a Vaishya, anywhere he goes, like if you call him for our Janmashtami program or Gaur Purnima program, immediately he will say, itna pandal laga hai, itne log aaye hain, how much must be the budget? And how many commercials are there? How many sources of finances are there? Is the economy really running good? So he will immediately get into an analysis of, the finance. Even if he goes to a forest, if he goes to Vrindavan, he says, "Bech ke kya banaunga?" This is what a greedy person will do. A lusty person, anywhere he goes, he sees how can he increase his romance, more sense gratification. And there's one more, angry person. Angry person, because he's not been able to satisfy his lust, he's always frustrated. He's frustrated with the world, he's frustrated with his company, he's frustrated with his family, frustrated with his stomach, he's frustrated. Right? So, three things would happen as a rhythm or a frequency of every individual is lust, motivated by lust, satisfaction of senses, or frustration of senses, and you're going to figure out how to kind of become peaceful because of the frustration that I've been created, raga, dvesha, and greed if things work so much. So the Shastras explain, Bhagavad Gita says, lust, anger and greed, what are they? Yes. Just when I was about to say 3 gates, everyone said the gate is opening. Is like opening the gates to hell and also traversing on them, right? So it means that if any individual is motivated by how can I enjoy, he is opening the doors of hell. If an individual is constantly frustrated with the material world and trying to fix situations in his life, he is also opening the gate to hell. And if he is busy aggrandizement, keep building, that is also the gate to hell. Chanakya says, Pipilikarjitam dhanyam, makshika sanchitam madhu, lubdhena sanchitam dravyam, samulam hi vinashyati. Ants accumulate grains, and someone becomes upset, breaks things, and they're all homeless. Makshika, the honeybees collect honey, and the person who wants honey is just waiting for them. Helping you make investments and grow. And when it's all saturated, the person will come with a fire torch, shoo off all the honeybees and take all the honey. Makshika sanchitam madhu. Similarly, anyone in this world, lubdhena sanchitam dravyam. If the motivation is greed, he says, sa moolam. Moolam matlab, from the foundation, very source, vinashyati. So motivation of greed will lead to vinashyati, and the gates to hell will be opened because of that particular perspective, and Yamdutas are waiting. Sir, thank you for making so much nice investments. We are here to give you a treat. And then if somebody is motivated by lust, we see, yahi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya. Sense gratification means giving birth to children. Whenever senses come in contact with sense objects, there is a child who is born. His name is Mr. Dukh. Dukkha yonaya evate. So one may say, Prabhuji, sense gratification के बाद तो दुख नहीं होता है. नहीं, अभी conceive हुआ है, पैदा होगा, बड़ा होगा, फिर कपड़ा छीनेगा, फिर थप्पड़ मारेगा. Right? The Leela will start after some time. So if somebody engages with lust as a motivation, dukkha yonaya evate, it will be so much of unhappiness. And yes, after a life of unhappiness, what does one get? Congratulations, you're opening the gates to hell. Welcome. That's the second. And the third, anger. What happens? All his life is so frustrated. Looks at anything and says, this is not going okay. That's not going okay. He's not going okay. World is not going okay. Why am I in the world, by the way, if nothing is going okay? So he's in a hellish situation right when he's there here only. Right? So anger always leads to, anything we do in anger, we always lament. It is always so much of apologies to kind of fix from where we started. So the devotees are mentioning that a lusty person, angry person, a greedy person always is looking from that perspective, but the result Nashati. A person will have a hellish travel. A person will be subjugated by the Yamdutas. That is the result of living with these principles. So says, a pure devotee would not do that. He would only live with respect to Krishna. Anything he looks at, he says, how can I engage this in Krishna's service? How is this connected to Krishna? I was in Ayodhya, Ram Lala, right? So Lord Ram, Mother Sita, Lakshman, Hanuman, everyone with all the entourage, Vanaras, they all come from Lanka. Indra comes down after the defeat of Ravan, and Lord Ram asks, Indra asks, my dear Lord, how can I serve you? He says, Make all the Vanaras who died on the battlefield alive. That means anyone who died in serving Lord Ram was all brought back to life. And then Lord Ram says, they will all go with me to Ayodhya. Or maybe they proposed, whatever. And in Pushpak Viman, everybody sat up. You know, Pushpak Viman has so much accommodation, unlimited accommodation. And I think we kind of studied and they all started flying with Lord Ram because Lord Ram was extremely grateful to all the Vanaras for having served him, helped him find his consort. And then when the Pushpak plane is flying over Kishkinda, all the Vanaras' wives and many children are waving, Baba, where are you going? So Lord Ram looks at the Vanaras feeling very sympathetic, so he says, yes, they all can come on board. And they were all traveling to Ayodhya. And we know the whole episode how Nandigram they go and come down to Ayodhya. Vasishtha says now is the time of coronation, Pattabhishekam. And the whole coronation is done. The three wolves come to observe the whole episode of Lord Ram's being coronated. It's extremely, extremely nourishing for every jiva to see the Lord being adorned with so much of respect. And at that point of time, after everybody is, the thing happens, Lord Ram and Mother Sita feel he was not a businessman who would do Anuman, how much he says. So he just took the diamond necklace and with his teeth, he started like breaking each of the diamonds and shredding the whole thing. And Mother Sita became very amused. The people in the court became amused. Mother Sita has given Hanuman this particular diamond necklace and he's kind of breaking it apart. What's going on? And Hanuman says, I am seeing, where is Lord Ram here? Where is the opportunity of serving Lord Ram here? I'm considering seeing this diamond necklace. Alright? So the absorption of Hanuman is in any circumstance, he's seeing where is Lord Ram and where is the opportunity of serving Lord Ram. And he was into critical analysis and research in that particular situation. I do not want to get overpowered by appreciation and so much of recognition. Hanuman is a Vaishnava. If I get so much of recognition, I may tend to forget. I may start believing, oh, I did so much service. Really great Hanuman, right? I didn't get defeated in any war and they've acknowledged it. Exclusively Mother Sita has glorified me. He is not wanting any veneration, any glorification because that's going to disturb his, unalloyed, ananya bhakti. He's kind of breaking each of them. He says, what are you finding? He says, I'm finding Lord Ram. Oh, you're finding Lord Ram? That means Lord Ram is... He's in you, he's everywhere. He says, yes. He says, Lord Ram is in my heart. कहने के बाद अब शंका हो गई है. I think we should clear the doubt. So Hanuman right in front of the whole assembly says, I think I should rip off my chest. And ripping off chest means what? Dying. If somebody rips off someone's chest to find what's inside, it's no more. So Hanuman says, I would like to find out, and he tears it apart. And what does the whole assembly say? Ram, Lakshman, Sita, Hanuman. This is forceful glorification. Hanuman wants to run away from glorification. So Hanuman's only absorption is to find Lord Ram, is to find service of Lord Ram. That's his absorption. He was sent to find Mother Sita. He's a brahmachari, right? He's a warrior monk, right? So he was sent to Lanka to find out Mother Sita. That means find out women. So he had to go into the private quarters of everybody to find out not a brahmachari service. That's not a service. To find, spot out. So, but then he was so engrossed in finding Mother Sita, at one point of time he reflected, I'm a brahmachari. What am I doing here? I'm finding women in the houses and in the private quarters. But then he shook himself. I'm a brahmachari, but I'm servant of Lord Ram. And it's my service to Lord Ram to find Mother Sita. Right? So he became so conscious of Krishna, of Lord Ram, he again became absorbed in his service. There's nothing wants to find if they are women. And Hanuman looks at women and he's searching for Lord Ram's service. So Prabhupada says, the Acharya is saying here, that's a pure devotee. He sees Krishna everywhere. He sees Krishna in everything. He sees everything. So the Chaturshloki Bhagavat, the 4 verses that Lord Vishnu spoke to Brahmaji, which became expanded more and more as Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. The Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, like the 4 verses which actually the whole universe. One may be reflecting, if I can handle my own life and family, that would also be wonderful, or handle my temple, or handle resources, or handle everything. So these 4 verses, it says you can handle the whole universe, right? And most of you, all of you have read these verses. I will just say them in few words. The first verse of Chaturshloki says, Ahameva Sameva, grace the verse, which says that before the creation, the Lord says, I was there. Who was there? I was there. And then the creation happened, manifestation, dissolution happened. And then at the end, who is there? Krishna is there. So whatever happens in between, the whole drama, who is that? It's Krishna. That means everything in this cosmos is Krishna's energy manifesting from Krishna. Right? Krishna was there, and Krishna expanded into the creation, all the leelas, everything that's happening, and everything dissolved, and Krishna is there. That means everything in this world, what is it? It is Krishnamayam. It's Krishnamayam. It's all Krishna. Obviously the Mayavadis say it's Aham Brahmasmi, or I am that. Not like that Krishna, but everything is Krishna's energy. Everything is happening by the will of Krishna. That is the first sloka. That means anywhere we see, what should we see? Yatha drishti, yatha drishti, tatha shrishti. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada would say, when you go home, he would tell his devotees, when you go home, you should see Yamuna, you should see Govardhan, you should see the Purnima moon, and you should see the Gopas and the Gopis. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Je dine grihe bhajana dekhi goloka bhaiya. He says, Jaisi drishti, vaisi srishti. If I think I have come to this place which is material world, then tatha srishti. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said, you look at your house, you look at your temple, you look at everything as Vrindavan. If you look at it as Vrindavan, then it will be Vrindavan. Parcel. Everything's supposed to be for Krishna's service. That is the first verse, to see everything. And that's how Prabhupada, he went all over the world and he was fearless. One of the quality of Prabhupada that made all his disciples so courageous is Prabhupada feared nobody. There were big PhD people, big scientists, big researchers. They would all come to debate with Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, because he had the essence of all learning, Prabhupada immediately categorized Mudha, Naradhama, Maya Apahrita Jnana, or Asuram Bhavamashra. Who is he? So when I remember, I think many of you may, I quote this, is Prabhupada sitting in a very philosophical, thoughtful people. So Prabhupada comes in a very Shiva, like royal way and sits in that particular seat. I think it's a swing. And Prabhupada says, so, who is God? And then everybody, all the philosophers and scientists looking at each other. So one person took the courage to say, Swamiji, that's a difficult question. It needs a lot of delving. It needs a lot of discussion, thought. Prabhupada said, that means you don't know. Because if you know, you see. But that's not all. We all know what Prabhupada looking at each other. So clear, right? तुमको पता नहीं, मुझको पता है, मैं बता रहा हूँ, मान जाओ. Someone may think, how can it be so simple? It says, that is what is, bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. This guy Jananivas Prabhu would give a explanation of this verse. He says, how does this become possible? Bahunam janmanam is giving you the conclusion, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. He says, if you accept Prabhupada's conclusions, that Bahunam Janmanam Ante is done. Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite par, tomara shakati ache. Ami to kangal, Krishna Krishna boli, dhai tava pache pache. So it's because of Prabhupada's mercy that we are able to see. Right? So Prabhupada was so fearless because he knew Krishna and he knew the world was completely in ignorance, in illusion. Everything is connected to Krishna, and in this world, nobody is able to see Krishna. What does that mean? That means everybody is in illusion. Then the second verse of the Chaturshloki Bhagavat is Rite artam yad pratiyeta na pratiyeta cha atmani. This is a very nice, interesting verse. It says, if you see something in this world to have meaning, if you see in this world something to be really ambitious about, if you see something that makes us feel this is going to work. Krite artham. But it is not connected to Krishna. So Lord Vishnu says, Tavad vidya atmano maya. That is my maya. If you see anything in this world which is attractive, which is meaningful, which has purpose, which has future, and everything you see in this world, but it is not connected to Krishna, he says, my dear Brahmaji, that's Maya. Right? So when I read this verse, obviously, it's easy to be Maya conscious then, because we can analyze our experiences and very easily see things. Like sometimes as devotees we would deal with Maya, be in Maya. He says, no. If you look at something to be Maya, that is Maya. Right? If you look at something to be Maya, that is Maya. Because there is no Maya. There is only Krishna. So if anything in our life we feel, oh, this is not Krishna conscious, this is Maya, I need to deal with it. That is being in Maya. That is the second verse. That means nothing is a situation in this world which is not connected to Krishna. Right? So if we think we are in Maya, then we are in Maya. If we think we are in Krishna, I'm going to say, we understand the connection, then we are not in Maya. And anything kind of has meaning in life, not connected to Krishna, is Maya. So from these two definitions, we can really understand how Krishna conscious we need to be. Right? Prabhupada translates in one place Krishna consciousness. He says Krishna consciousness means nectar of devotion. That means if somebody is Krishna conscious, he is actually experiencing nectar because of seeing Krishna and relating with him. The world seems to be moving in the right direction. So Prabhupada could easily diagnose the world and says, what is this modern advancement? What's all going on? He says, they're fastly moving to hell. Prabhupada could speak statements like, symptom of the whole world. What is modern advancement? The dog is running on 4 legs and the people are running on 4 wheels. If you really seriously think, Prabhupada made very strong statements. Very, very significant and strong statements. And Prabhupada said, I am ready to debate. Anyone wants to discuss. Right? So that is the second verse. And the third verse and the fourth verse, in a sense, speaks, so you see everything in connection to Krishna and engage it in Krishna's service and experience relish. Right? This is what Brahmaji was told by Lord Vishnu. Right? See everything in connection to Krishna and be engaged in Krishna's service. In all circumstances, in all time, place, circumstance. He said there is no circumstance when you become jobless. I like to reflect on this. Imagine we are absolutely sick. Then can we work for a company? Can we work for a boss? If we're absolutely sick? And pay you? But there's one boss who is ready to employ. Even if we're absolutely sick on the bed, we can still serve Krishna. And Krishna will accept you in his company. And Krishna will accept your service and reciprocate. जब आप किसी के लायक नहीं बचते. बट ऐसा कभी नहीं हो सकता कि कृष्ण के लिए आप नालायक हो जाते. राइट? We may become unfit for this world. Right? The moment we become unproductive, we may become a liability. So the moment you're not productive, people's sentiment of emotion recedes from their heart. Right? But Krishna is such a grateful person. Such a grateful person. He never forgets his devotee. Now, what to say of forget his devotees, always thinking about his devotees to give him relishing experience to a devotee. So even when we become unqualified for the whole world, we still are qualified to chant Hare Krishna. Okay, we cannot chant Hare Krishna. Can we still work for Krishna? We can think for Krishna. He says we can. Even if you're not a good cook, or maybe you don't know how to cook, still you can cook for Krishna. Right? And make it so nectarine. Maybe you don't have those ingredients, but you can offer. And Krishna accepts it. Rather, he says, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. He's more looking for, more than external, he's looking for your heartful offerings. He's looking for all our heartful offerings. Actually, whatever we can do is usually our prarabdha. You know, we qualify people's performance, it's usually the prarabdha of who can do what. Right? That doesn't qualify devotion. Why are we doing what we are doing is actually the language of devotion. Maybe our prarabdha are we doing it? If you're doing it for lust, anger, greed, Trivida Narakam Dwaram, or we're doing it for Krishna's service, Krishna's embrace. So this is Chaturshloki Bhagavat. Brahmaji, look at the whole world. This is me. Relate with me and engage in serving me in all circumstances, in all situations. So Brahmaji was given the service of making the whole creation. Imagine 14 planetary systems, population, construction. Brahmaji says, oh, Maya is there, service is there, how do I do? Giving everyone a body. He gets bewildered. He again asks Lord Vishnu, Keman Cholve, how will it work? He says, Brahmaji, remember two things in life. The first thing you remember, I am the doer. Who is the doer? Krishna is the doer. This we have to be very clear. Who is the doer? Who is the maintainer? Who is the destroyer? Who is the well-wishing friend of everyone? Who is going to do all the work? Krishna. Yes, fact of life. Then Brahmaji may say, Prabhu, main kya karu? Then what's my service? He says, become my instrument. Become my nimitta. If you see the Gita, what is Krishna actually telling Arjuna? Become my nimitta, my loving instrument. That's the main essence of the teaching of the Gita and Bhagavat. Become my loving instrument. Right? Become my nimitta. You know, Krishna will inspire when you dedicate yourself to serve him, what you should do. And you'd follow that Hari Guru Vaishnava's advice in that situation. That's how you become an instrument. And then, if you run into a problem, the first instruction is, Krishna is the doer and I am the instrument. Now, when you practice like this, we may run into a problem sometime. Mushkil. Then the Lord says, Remember the first instruction. The second instruction is, whenever you forget, remember the Smartavyam Satatam Vishnu Vishvartavyam Najatuchat. Always remember Krishna. So if you forget Krishna, then again remember Krishna. And everything is going to work there. Right? So this is how the Lord is also explaining to Brahmaji of how everything is Krishnamaya. So then there's what's left in this world, in our lives, to be concerned about. The only concern is to be able to see it in connection to Krishna. That's the only concern that we have in our lives. Not really to change our situations, but to change all our consciousness. And how does this consciousness change? I'll just take a few minutes. I've already overshot time. And I think the next part of it can be done by the next devotee, because it's very significant of how one becomes a Mayavadi if one does not become a Krishna conscious. But if we focus on this, then the next one we can study as a science, but will not work on us. Right? So how does this happen? So Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita says that the three modes of material nature are influencing the whole world. And they all come from, again, Krishna. So anyone who is within the three modes cannot see Krishna. Krishna says, the three modes are acting and I'm above them. So anyone who is in the modes cannot see Krishna. That's what Krishna is saying. Anyone who is in Rajogun, Tamogun or Sattvagun or Khichdi, mix of everything, and observing this world, he says they can see Krishna. Krishna is above the modes. So now the question is, what do we do? How do we do? How do we practically do? And the verses before this speaks about how can one go beyond dualities and the modes. Okay, the question is, how do we get into the modes? What causes us to go into the modes? What is it that attracts us to the modes? Desire. Yes, desire. Yeah, you become forgetful of Krishna and you desire. Desire is what gets us in the orbit of the modes. That's why they say, what is that? Ashahi paramam dukkham. Irashahi paramam sukham. Why? But the moment you have no asha, Maya can't catch you. That's how the impersonal school has a lot of following. Because everybody is so tortured. Bolo chhod de. And the moment you leave the effort, you become peaceful. Nirashahi paramam sukham. So it is desire that catches us. Otherwise the jiva cannot be caught by Maya. How can you catch spirit? Inferior energy cannot influence the superior energy. The only way it can influence is if the superior energy catches an inferior energy and gets attached. Right? That is how you can catch him. So desire is what can catch us with the modes. Now, is it possible to be desireless? Impossible to be desireless. It says, not even a moment a person can be without action. So then what is the way out? Yes. He says, what is the word it uses? Guru? Devatma. He says Guru Devatma. He says the means is Guru Devatma. He says one who considers the spiritual master as the worshipful deity, right, and makes his instructions as his life and soul. He says such a person immediately becomes free of duality in the three modes. He says we should regard. Now, this is my little understanding that many times we understand that the spiritual master is not God. respected as God. Then you follow the whole truth. If you only follow that spiritual master is not God, that means he's not God. So I could also be. My opinion can also have a lot of weight, that means. When it says no, spiritual master is not God, but he should be respected as God. That is the principle of Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. He says, if you regard the spiritual master, the acharyas, and take their instructions as our life and soul, then one will not get into the this world. When are you leaving? We're too bothered by your presence here. He said, you only go to, when does a person go to jail? When he trespasses, right? You trespass state laws, you go to a jail. You trespass Krishna's laws, we go to hell. Right? So we follow Krishna's laws, which is given by Guru, then we are carefree. So he says, if somebody lives his life constantly focusing we're going to be unaffected from this world, and we can very safely and happily go back to, we can be with Krishna and we can go back to Krishna Loka. And Prabhupada actually said that. He says, Vyavasayatmika buddhi bahushakhahi anantascha buddhaya vyavasaya. He says, taking the words of the spiritual master as his life and soul. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes a commentary on that. He says, which Prabhupada was inspired. He says, a disciple does not even consider deliverance. Right? He doesn't even consider deliverance. He just considers engaging in his service. And then the acharyas explain, just like Lakshman, for him there is no separate program. His only program is, Lord Ram goes for hunting, I should protect him. Lord Ram goes to Vanvas, I have service. Lord Lakshman does not have an existence without Lord Ram perspective. Hanuman, does he have existence without service? So he says, an opportunity to become a servant of the spiritual master. He says, Mukti will stand with folded palms at your doorstep and said, can I serve you? No, hum seva nahi grahan karenge. He says, such a person has to not think about mukti, not think of this world. He says he is Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Because his only absorption is, what about Lord Ram? What about, how do I guard him? How do I protect him? How do I serve him? So he says, this aspect of seeing ourselves as a servant of the spiritual master or devotees, and we have no other existence as a thought also, he says, we are free from the material energy. We don't get caught. He says, even in this world, we swim in ecstasy. Like Prabhupada's disciples and all the devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness and flourishing, he says, Prabhupada has taught us a practical way of staying aloof from the material energy while infiltrating into the material energy and making everyone Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Mahāpurāna ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Gaur Bhakti Vrinda ki, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare. Thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna.